lost wallet and the crying eyes, the spaceport on planet Thrain was always loud and crowded, filled with the smell of fuel, metal and alien spices among the crowd. A human engineer named Jack walked slowly, his clothes dusty from work at the repair docks. He had just finished a long shift fixing old freighters and was ready to head home. But as he reached into his pocket, his heart stopped. His wallet was gone. It had his ID, his credits, and the small photo of his late wife. The only memory he kept close. Jack searched the busy market lanes, moving past stalls of glowing fruit and alien jewelry. He muttered softly, "It must have fallen somewhere near the docking bay." He didn't notice the small figure watching him from the shadows, a tiny alien girl barely 8 years old. With silver skin and large violet eyes, her clothes were torn, her hair tangled, and her bare feet were covered in dust. The girl held something tight against her chest, a worn-out human wallet. She looked at the picture inside, the human woman smiling, and whispered, "He must be looking for this," but fear kept her frozen. Humans were rare on Thrain, and many aliens whispered that humans were dangerous. Still, her mother had always said, "Not all stories are true, little one. Sometimes the kindest heart hides behind strange eyes." Jack stopped near the fountain square, frustration growing. He sat on the cold stone bench, rubbing his temples, unaware that the girl had begun to follow him. Her small hands trembled, but she walked closer. The wind blew dust between them, carrying her faint voice as she whispered, "Human, I found this." Jack turned sharply, startled. Then his eyes softened when he saw the tiny figure holding out his wallet. He knelt down and took it gently. "You found this?" "Thank you, little one." Her voice shook. "Yes, but can you help my mother?" Jack frowned, confused. "Your mother? What's wrong?" Tears welled up in her bright violet eyes. "She's sick, she can't move. No one helps us because we have no credits." The girl looked away, ashamed. "Please, human, you fix machines, right?" "Maybe you can fix her too." Jack's chest tightened. Her innocence broke something inside him. He had seen many beggars, many liars, but something in her eyes was pure and desperate. He asked softly, "Where is your mother?" The girl took his hand without fear now. "Follow me, please." "Hurry before it's too late." Her small fingers were cold. Her grip firm, they moved through narrow back streets, past flickering neon signs and broken doors. Jack noticed the smell of smoke and rust, the kind of place people forgot. Finally, they reached a dim alley, where a small shelter made of metal scraps stood. Inside, a weak alien woman lay on the floor, her skin pale blue and covered in cracks. Her breathing was slow, her eyes half closed, and a faint smile appeared when she saw her daughter. Jack stepped closer, kneeling beside her. He touched her forehead and felt the cold, unnatural chill of malnutrition and poison. She whispered something in her native tongue. Too weak to form words, the little girl cried, "Please, human, you can fix things. Please fix her." Jack looked at the woman, then at the little girl, and his voice broke. "I don't know how to fix her, but I'll try." And in that moment, under the dim neon lights of a forgotten street, a human and a small alien child began something that would change not only their lives, but the fate of an entire world. The secret beneath her skin. The small shelter was silent except for the sound of shallow breathing. Jack knelt beside the alien woman, trying to steady his thoughts. The air smelled of rust, smoke, and sadness. The little girl sat near her mother, holding her cold hand and whispering softly in her alien language. Jack could see the pain in her eyes, the fear of losing the only family she had. He looked around for anything that might help. There were a few broken medical injectors, an empty water jug, and a dim lantern that flickered weakly. He muttered, "She needs warmth, food, maybe medicine." The little girl's eyes brightened a little. "You can save her." Jack hesitated. "I can try, but I'm not a doctor. I'm just a mechanic, still." He took off his old jacket and covered the woman. Her skin was cold like metal, faintly glowing with strange silver lines beneath. It wasn't natural. It looked like something was inside her. Jack frowned and leaned closer. "What happened to her?" The little girl's voice trembled. "The factory. She worked there until they used her." He looked at her, puzzled. "Used her? What do you mean?" The girl lowered her head, tears dripping on the dusty floor. "They took many from our village, said they needed workers, but they were putting things inside them, machines. To test power." Jack's hands froze. He whispered, "Machines? Inside people?" The girl nodded. "Mother escaped, but the machines didn't stop. They are eating her from inside." Jack's heart pounded, anger and disbelief mixing together. He had seen cybernetic implants before, but never something like this. He gently pressed the woman's arm, and under the skin, he felt faint vibrations and like gears turning slowly. Who did this to her? He asked, his voice dark. The girl whispered one name. The Syndicate. Jack knew that name, everyone did. They controlled most of the galaxy's trade and weren't afraid to experiment on the weak. He clenched his fists, his mind racing. If they were putting illegal tech inside aliens, that meant the woman was more than just a victim. She was evidence. And evidence like her never lived long. He looked at the woman again, her breathing weak but steady. Her body shook once, and a faint light pulsed from her chest. The light spread across her veins like tiny stars. Flickering under her skin, Jack leaned closer, eyes wide. That's not just tech, that's alive. He could feel the strange warmth radiating from her body, as if something was fighting back. The little girl held her mother tighter. She said the light inside her is alive. She said it talks to her in dreams, Jack whispered. Dreams. Yes, the girl said softly. It says a human will help us. It told her to wait for you. Jack froze, a chill running through his spine. How could it know about me? He asked, half to himself. The girl looked at him with those bright violet eyes. Maybe the light knows everything. Jack didn't know whether to feel afraid or honored. He stood up slowly, looking toward the alley's exit. He could already hear the distant hum of drones. Syndicate patrols scanning the slums for runaways. He knew staying here meant death for all of them. He turned back to the girl. What's your name? She wiped her tears and whispered. Lyra. All right, Lyra, he said firmly. We're getting your mother out of here. Her eyes widened. But she can't walk. Jack smiled faintly. Then I'll carry her. He lifted the fragile woman into his arms, feeling the faint pulse of that strange living light. The little girl followed close, holding the flickering lantern. And as they stepped into the dark streets of Thrain, Jack realized he was no longer just a mechanic. He was now part of something far greater, something the Syndicate would kill to keep hidden. The light that fought back. The night on planet Thrain was never quiet. Machines hummed in the sky, drones blinked like cold stars, and the sound of distant alarms echoed through the empty alleys. Jack moved fast, holding the alien woman in his arms, her body lighter than he expected but warm with strange energy. Little Lyra ran beside him, clutching the dim lantern, her tiny feet silent against the metal ground. Every few steps Jack turned his head, scanning the dark corners. He knew the Syndicate wouldn't let a test subject escape. They always came back to claim their property, even if it meant burning a whole block to ash. He whispered, "We need to hide." Lyra nodded quickly, pointing toward an old transport tunnel beneath the junk district. They slipped inside the tunnel, the air thick with the smell of oil and decay. Jack laid the alien woman gently on the ground. Her breathing was still shallow, but the glow under her skin pulsed brighter now. Lyra knelt beside her mother, tears falling silently. She's getting worse. Please help her. Jack took a deep breath. I'll try, little one. He opened his repair kit, pulling out wires, clamps, and a portable scanner. The device flickered and showed strange readings, not like any cybernetic implant he'd ever seen. Inside the woman's body, mechanical structures were fusing with living cells, forming something new. It's merging, Jack whispered. She's turning into something neither machine nor alien. Lyra's eyes widened. Is that bad? He didn't answer because he didn't know. Then suddenly, the air around them shimmered and the glow from the woman's body grew intense. The light filled the tunnel walls, casting moving patterns like rivers of stars. Jack covered his eyes, but he could feel warmth spreading through him, gentle but powerful. And then a soft voice echoed, not from her mouth, but from the air itself. Human, it whispered. Do not fear me. Jack froze, his heart racing. Who's there? The light pulsed brighter, shaping itself into symbols he didn't understand. Lyra gasped. It's her. The light is speaking. The voice continued. They used my body to build a weapon, but I refused to destroy. I chose to heal instead. Jack looked at the unconscious woman, her lips barely moving. You're alive inside her? He asked quietly. Yes, the voice replied. But I am dying. They poisoned me to silence my power. Jack clenched his fists. There must be a way to help, the voice answered. There is. But it will cost you more than you know. Before Jack could speak again, a sudden blast shook the tunnel. Metal screamed, dust rained down, and the sound of mechanical legs echoed closer. Lyra screamed, "They found us." Jack grabbed his toolkit and the woman. "Run, Lyra, go now." They sprinted through the tunnel as red lights filled the walls. Syndicate drones dropping from the ceiling. Jack fired his repair torch at a weak beam above. Sparks flying. The tunnel roof collapsed behind them. Blocking the drones for a moment, he gasped for air, his muscles burning. But he didn't stop. Lyra kept running ahead, holding the lantern like a tiny star in the darkness. Behind them, the woman's body glowed even brighter, the light almost too strong to look at. When they finally reached the surface, the cold night wind hit their faces. Jack placed the woman on the ground again, and her eyes fluttered open for the first time. Her voice was weak but clear. "You saved us?" Jack shook his head. "Not yet. They'll come again." She looked at him with glowing eyes and whispered, "Then I'll stop them." The ground trembled, and a burst of light shot upward from her body. It spread like a shield across the sky, turning Syndicate drones into ashes before they could strike. Lyra covered her face, crying out, "Mother!" And Jack watched in stunned silence as the woman's body floated in midair, surrounded by light so pure it silenced the night. He didn't understand what she was, but in that moment, he knew humanity had just touched something divine, the signal that woke the stars. The sky above Thrayan still glowed faintly where the light had torn through it. The storm clouds shimmered like liquid silver before fading into darkness. Jack stood frozen, staring at the alien woman lying on the ground. The glow around her slowly dimmed until only soft sparks moved under her skin. Lyra clung to her mother's hand, whispering, "She's breathing. She's alive." Jack looked around, every shadow trembling in the echo of what had happened. The Syndicate drones were gone, reduced to metal dust scattered by the wind. But he knew they would not give up. He had seen things like this before, when someone discovered something too powerful to hide. The Syndicate always returned with bigger weapons and colder hearts. He took out his communicator, trying to contact anyone he trusted. But before he could send a signal, the device started flashing red. Lines of code appeared, not his own, and a mechanical voice whispered, "Signal detected." Alerting control units, Jack's heart pounded. They traced the blast, damn it. He threw the device aside, crushing it under his boot. Lyra looked up at him, fear in her violet eyes. "What's happening?" He forced a smile. "We need to move again before they find us." But as they started walking toward the abandoned industrial zone, a deep rumble echoed above. Massive shadows crossed the moonlight. Not Syndicate drones this time, but ships, and these ships bore a different mark. A human insignia. Jack's breath caught. No, it can't be. The United Earth Alliance didn't patrol this far out, not in years, yet here they were, moving in formation, scanning the surface below. He realized the blast of energy had not only alerted the Syndicate, it had also reached the humans. And if both sides came looking, Thrain was about to become a battlefield. They found an old storage yard full of broken shuttles and containers. Jack guided Lyra and her mother inside one of the rusted ships, sealing the door. The faint hum of power still came from the woman's body, the living light whispering like a heartbeat. Jack tried to calm himself. "We'll wait here until it's safe." But the woman's eyes flickered open again. Glowing softly, her voice was faint but steady. "They are coming for the light," Jack nodded. "I know, but why?" "What is it?" She took a shaky breath. "It's not a machine, it's a seed. The last of its kind, meant to heal dying worlds." Lyra looked at her mother in awe. "A seed?" The woman smiled weakly. "Yes, long ago our people protected it, but the Syndicate stole it to turn it into a weapon." Jack felt a chill down his spine. "Then why did it choose you?" The woman closed her eyes. "Because it needed someone who still had hope." She looked at him, her gaze deep and knowing, "And now, it's reaching for you too, human." Before Jack could respond, a faint blue glow rose from her hand and touched his chest. He gasped as warmth spread through him, visions flashing behind his eyes, cities of light, alien stars and human warships falling through fire. He stumbled back, breathing hard. "What did you do?" She whispered, shared its voice, "So you can hear what's coming." Outside, the sky trembled again, the thunder of engines shaking the ground. Jack moved to the window and saw Syndicate ships descending on one side, human dropships on the other. Lyra whispered, "They're both coming for her." Jack looked at them both and made his choice. "We can't hide anymore. But we can run. He grabbed his toolkit and the small energy core from the wreck. He turned toward Lyra. You hold her hand. I'll find a way to get us off this planet. And as the ground quaked under approaching armies, the living light inside the woman began to glow once more. But this time, it pulsed in rhythm with Jack's heartbeat. The flight through fire, the night sky above Thrain burned like a furnace. Flashes of red and blue split the darkness as Syndicate and human ships clashed in the upper atmosphere. Jack could see explosions lighting the clouds, pieces of metal falling like shooting stars. He tightened his grip on his toolkit and whispered, "We need to leave now." Lyra nodded, clutching her weak mother's hand, her small body trembling but her eyes full of trust. They ran between broken cargo ships, the ground shaking with every distant blast. Jack's mind raced, searching for anything still capable of flight. Most of the ships were too old, stripped for parts or burned from the inside. Then he spotted it, an old cargo hauler half buried in sand. Its hull cracked, but its engine core still glowing faintly. He smiled faintly. She'll fly. Maybe inside the hauler dust covered everything. He pulled open panels, his hands moving fast, rewiring circuits and forcing power into the dead systems. Lyra stood near her mother, watching him silently. Her mother's body still glowed softly, and every few moments the light inside her chest flickered, pulsing with strange rhythm. Jack noticed it, and the hum from the ship's engine responded. As if listening to her heartbeat, he whispered, "It's syncing with her." "The ship is reading her energy." Lyra looked up. "She's helping?" Jack nodded. "Maybe more than she knows." He switched the main reactor on, and a deep vibration filled the air. Lights flickered to life, casting the old hauler in a pale blue glow. Outside, the sound of approaching engines grew louder. A beam of red light scanned across the yard. Syndicate drones dropping from the sky. Lyra gasped. "They found us!" Jack shouted, "Hold on!" He slammed the ignition, and the hauler's thrusters roared to life. Shaking the sand and debris loose, the drones opened fire, energy blasts tearing into the metal walls. Jack steered the ship up, metal groaning as it lifted from the ground. Lyra held her mother tight, whispering prayers in her alien tongue. The woman's glow brightened again, forming a faint energy shield around them. The blast struck but bounced away, scattering light like rain. Jack stared in disbelief. She's protecting the ship. Lyra's tears glimmered in the light. "She's saving us again." He pushed the hauler higher, breaking through the smoke and into the open sky below them. The Syndicate base burned while human ships descended like falling stars. But then the woman opened her eyes slowly, her voice soft. "Jack, you must not let them take the seed." He turned to her. "What seed? What is it really?" Her voice echoed faintly. "It's not power. It's memory. The memory of the first light that gave life to all races." Jack frowned, confused. "You mean it's alive?" She nodded weakly. "Yes. It remembers creation itself, and both sides want to use it to control the future." Jack gritted his teeth. "Then they can't have it." Suddenly, an explosion rocked the ship, alarms blaring. 2 Syndicate interceptors had locked onto them, firing plasma bolts that sliced through the clouds. Jack jerked the controls, dodging the fire. "Hold tight!" But the old hauler was too slow, its engines screaming as one wing caught fire. The mother's glow flared again, spreading across the cockpit like threads of light. The flames vanished, replaced by calm silence outside. The interceptors froze midair, their weapons shutting down. Jack's jaw dropped. "She stopped them." The woman's voice came softly. "No. The seed did. It's awake now," Lyra whispered. "What does that mean?" The woman looked at Jack, her eyes glowing pure white. "It means it has chosen." The light around her pulsed once more, brighter than the stars outside, and Jack felt it. A strange warmth inside his chest. The same rhythm as hers. He realized the seed was no longer just in her. It was now inside him too. The voice of the seed's silence filled the cockpit after the flash of light faded. Jack sat frozen, feeling the strange warmth still moving through his chest. It was alive inside him now, breathing softly like a second heartbeat. Lyra held her mother's hand, whispering, "She's sleeping again." Jack nodded slowly. "She saved us." Again, outside, the stars stretched endlessly, but danger hid behind their beauty. Alarms blinked across the dashboard, long-range scanners showing ships converging from 2 directions, blue markers for humans, red for the Syndicate. Both were closing in. "Faster than he could fly," he whispered. "They're tracking the energy signature." He shut down the reactor, dimming the lights until the cabin was nearly dark. The ship drifted silently among the debris field left from the battle below. Lyra looked out the window, eyes wide. "Are we safe now?" Jack shook his head. "Not yet, but they can't find what they can't see." He stared at his hands. Faint blue light pulsed under his skin, glowing softly with each heartbeat. Then he heard it again, that calm, endless voice inside his mind. "Do not fear, human. We are together now." Jack froze, whispering, You can talk to me?" The voice sounded neither male nor female, but full of emotion. "I can now that you carry my spark." He swallowed hard. "What are you exactly?" "I am memory," it said, "the memory of creation, the bridge between life and machine." Jack closed his eyes, feeling waves of warmth spreading through his body. Images flashed behind his eyelids. Alien worlds, oceans of light, creatures of metal and flesh building together in harmony, he whispered. "So you're what started it all," the voice replied softly. "And what they both fear." He saw then how humanity and the Syndicate were not so different. Both wanted control. Both wanted power over life itself. But the seed represented balance, a force that could heal worlds instead of ruling them. He opened his eyes, gasping for air. The vision fading slowly, Lyra watched him nervously. "Jack, are you okay?" He forced a small smile. "Yeah. Just learning things I wasn't supposed to." Suddenly, a faint signal buzzed from the ship's comm. A human voice cracked through the static. "Unknown vessel, identify yourself." "You are in restricted airspace," Jack cursed under his breath. "They found us anyway." Lyra's mother stirred weakly, whispering, "They will destroy the seed if they find it." Jack made his decision quickly. He powered the engines to minimum and drifted toward the shadow of a destroyed carrier. Metal beams surrounded them like jagged teeth, hiding their small ship inside the wreck. He turned off every system except life support. The silence was deep, broken only by the soft hum of the seed inside his chest. Then the voice spoke again, quieter this time. "You cannot run forever, but you can learn," Jack frowned. "Learn what?" "To use what I have given you," it said. "I am part of you now as she was part of me." Jack looked toward the sleeping alien woman, her glow faint but steady. He whispered, "You mean I can do what she did?" The voice answered, "If your heart stays pure." Jack clenched his fists, his mind racing with both fear and wonder. He could feel power waiting beneath his skin, gentle yet infinite. Outside, human and Syndicate scanners swept the stars, searching for him like hunters in the dark. Lyra leaned against him and whispered, "You'll protect us, right?" He looked down at her, smiling softly. "I will, Lyra, no matter what happens." And in that quiet moment, as the ship drifted among the ruins of war, the seed pulsed again, brighter this time, sending out a single silent wave of light. It traveled across space faster than any signal, and far away in both human and Syndicate command ships, alarms began to scream. The seed had awakened, and it was calling something ancient from beyond the stars. The echo of the first light. The stars outside the wreck shifted as the silent wave spread through space. Jack didn't see it, but he felt it inside his bones. A pulse that wasn't just sound but meaning. It was like the whole universe had taken a breath. The ship's lights flickered once. Though every system was turned off, Lyra woke with a start, clutching her mother. "What was that?" Jack whispered. The seed sent a signal. The voice inside him answered calmly, "A message to those who came before." He frowned. "Before what?" "Before war, before greed, before division," the voice replied. "They will come." Jack didn't know if he should feel hope or fear. Outside, space seemed to twist. Faint golden trails appearing in the dark void. Lyra gasped softly, pointing through the cracked window. "Jack, look," shapes moved beyond the stars. Fast and slow like shadows made of light, they weren't ships, not like anything built by human or Syndicate hands. They looked alive, breathing, glowing with the same warmth as the seed. Jack's breath caught. "What are they?" The voice answered. "Echoes of the first light, they are drawn to me," Lyra whispered. "Are they dangerous?" The voice hesitated. "Only to those who destroy." Jack looked at Lyra. "Then we have nothing to fear," but he was wrong. Because across the battlefield, the Syndicate flagship had detected the pulse. Its commander, a cold-eyed alien named Varn, snarled, It's awake and prepare the null cannons. At the same time, the human fleet detected the same signal. Admiral Stone stood from his chair, her voice steady. All ships focus scanners on grid 13. Find the source. And in that instant, both sides turned their attention to the drifting hauler hidden among ruins. Jack felt a pressure in his chest, the seed reacting to danger, his vision blurred. And suddenly he saw through walls. He could sense every ship, every engine pulse, every weapon charging across the distance, he whispered. They're coming from both sides. The voice spoke gently. Then you must choose how to answer. He closed his eyes, reaching inside the warmth within him. The seed's energy rose like a tide, filling every nerve with light. He felt the old hauler's broken systems awaken again, this time glowing from within. Panels repaired themselves, wires knitted together. Power flowed like a heartbeat. Lyra gasped, "Jack, what's happening?" He smiled faintly. I'm fixing it with my thoughts," but the voice corrected him softly. "Not thoughts, Will, and the light follows your heart." He took a deep breath, focusing on safety, on life. "Not on hate or war," the ship responded, its shields activating. Energy waves bending the space around it outside. The first syndicate blast hit, but instead of burning, the energy scattered like dust in the wind. Lyra looked out the window, whispering, "You stopped it." Jack opened his eyes, glowing faintly blue now. "No, we stopped it." Then the air filled with another sound, a deep hum, older than time. From beyond the stars, the glowing shapes drew closer, their light bathing the battlefield. Every ship, human and syndicate alike, froze, their engines dead, weapons silent. Admiral Stone shouted orders that never reached her crew. Commander Varn's control screens turned black, his voice breaking. "What is this?" And through all their fear, one calm voice echoed across every frequency. The same voice Jack heard inside his head. It spoke not just to him, but to every living mind. The seed has awoken, and the first light remembers. Jack looked out at the horizon of stars. Feeling both small and infinite, he whispered, "What happens now?" The voice answered softly, "Now humanity must decide what it truly is, destroyer or healer." And deep inside his heart, Jack knew the next choice he made would decide the fate of more than one world. The choice of the human heart. The battlefield above Thrain was silent now. Every ship hung still in the darkness, their engines frozen by the wave of living light. The great shapes from beyond the stars drifted closer, glowing like suns wrapped in mist even from inside the small hauler. Jack could feel their presence, warm, vast, and old. Lyra pressed her face against the window, whispering, "They're beautiful." Jack nodded slowly, unable to look away. The voice inside his mind spoke again, calm and endless. "They have come to remember," he asked softly. "Remember what?" "Life," the voice said. "Before war, before hunger for power, before creation was divided." Jack felt his chest tighten, the seed pulsing stronger with every word. Across the human fleet, Admiral Stone stood motionless, every screen on her bridge filled with a single glowing symbol, the same one that now burned faintly on Jack's hands. Her officers stared in silence as a voice echoed through their minds too. "Your kind once carried the light with honor, but you forgot compassion," she whispered to herself. "It's speaking to us." On the Syndicate flagship, Commander Varn fought to regain control. His weapons refused to fire, his ships wouldn't move. The same voice filled his head. "You built empires on fear and called it peace," he growled. "We will not be judged by ghosts." But deep down, even he felt something breaking, a truth too bright to deny. Inside the hauler, Jack knelt beside the alien woman. Her breathing was steady, her skin glowing faintly, the same rhythm as the ship itself. Lyra held her mother's hand and looked at Jack. "They're talking to everyone now, aren't they?" He nodded. "Yes, to every mind that can listen," the little girl whispered. "Then maybe they can stop the fighting." But suddenly alarms flashed again across the console. Jack's eyes widened, a single red signal blinking fast. He scanned it quickly, his heart sinking. No, they did it." Lyra looked frightened. "What's wrong?" Jack said quietly. "The Syndicate fired a planet core weapon. It'll destroy Thrain in minutes." The seed pulsed sharply. Almost like pain, the voice spoke inside him. "They have chosen destruction. Now you must choose," Jack whispered. "Choose what?" "Whether to save them or let them fall," the voice said. "Mercy or judgment, and both carry a cost." He looked at the sleeping woman, then at Lyra. then out toward the fleets caught in stillness. He whispered, "If I use the seed to stop that weapon, will it survive?" "No," the voice replied. "You will burn with it. Your body will not endure such light." Lyra's eyes filled with tears. "Jack, please don't," he smiled sadly. "Sometimes saving others means we don't come back." Her small hands clutched his sleeve. "But you promised you'd protect us." He touched her shoulder gently. "And I will." He closed his eyes, feeling the warmth of the seed rising again. The ship's walls began to hum, every surface glowing with living light. The woman stirred, whispering weakly, "Jack, don't lose yourself." He smiled faintly. "Maybe this is what humans were made for. To bring light where others only see darkness." Outside, the massive planet core weapon charged, a crimson sun rising over Thrain's horizon. But as it fired, the beam shattered mid-air, breaking into a million golden sparks. The wave of destruction reversed, turning into pure energy that spread across space like dawn. The fleets were pushed away harmlessly, their systems restored, and from the center of it all, Jack's ship shone brighter than a star. For a heartbeat, every living being, human, alien, or machine, and saw his face in the light, not as a soldier, not as a hero, but as a human who chose mercy over power. Then the light faded, leaving only silence. Lyra whispered, tears running down her cheeks. He kept his promise, and somewhere far beyond the stars a new dawn began. The human of light days passed since the great light had covered Thrain. The warships were gone, the skies were clear again. No one could explain how the planet survived the Syndicate's weapon. But everyone remembered the light, a light that carried warmth instead of fire, a light that came from one human. Lyra sat beside her mother under the twin suns. Their small shelter had been rebuilt from the wreck of the hauler. The ground that was once burned now glowed faintly with life. Strange flowers grew from the ash, shining softly in the morning air. She whispered, "He really did it, didn't he?" Her mother smiled weakly, her silver skin now healthy again. "Yes, little one. He gave what no one else would, himself." Lyra looked at the horizon where the sky still shimmered faintly. "He said he'd protect us." And he did. Her mother touched her hair gently. "He protected more than us. He saved hope." Across the galaxy, stories began to spread. Miners on the outer belts told of a human who turned weapons into stars. Syndicate workers whispered about the Lightbearer, who stopped their master's wrath. And even human soldiers who once fought for conquest knelt in silence when they saw the recordings. For the light that saved Thrain had touched their ships too, cleansing their weapons and their hearts. Admiral Stone returned to Earth with empty hands but a changed soul. In the council chamber, she stood before the leaders and said, "One man did what no army could, but he showed mercy." Many doubted her words, but when she opened the ship's data, the room fell silent. The final recording showed Jack's voice saying softly, "If we forget compassion, we forget what it means to be human." And then the screen filled with light. In the far sectors, the Syndicate tried to rebuild its control, but many of its soldiers deserted, saying they had seen truth in that light. Commander Varn vanished from command. Some said he went searching for forgiveness. Others said he followed the light's echo into deep space, whatever the truth. The Syndicate's grip weakened for the first time in centuries. Back on Thrain, the soil healed faster than anyone believed. The light had changed it, turning deserts into gardens and broken rivers into crystal streams. The alien woman, once dying, could now heal others with a single touch. She told visitors from every world, "The seed still lives, just not where you expect, and it lives in every heart that chooses kindness." And people listened, because her eyes carried the same glow that once surrounded the stars. Lyra grew stronger, her laughter filling the rebuilt streets. Every night she sat under the stars, whispering into the wind, "Thank you, Jack." Sometimes, in the distance, the air shimmered softly, and for a moment she swore she could see his shadow smiling, not as a ghost, but as a promise that humanity still mattered. Years later, children of many races would study the Thrain miracle. They would read about the man who carried a dying alien mother through the slums, the man who faced fleets and refused to hate, and they would call him by the name written across the galaxies, the human of light. The one who reminded the stars that compassion was the greatest power of all. The dawn of light, the galaxy slowly healed after the chaos. Planets once scarred by war began to flourish. Species long divided whispered tales of the human who had faced impossible odds. Jack's name was remembered not as a soldier, but as a light-bearer, and on Thrain, flowers glowed softly where his ship had once hovered. Lyra stood beside her mother on the hill overlooking the rebuilt city. The twin suns rose together, painting the sky in colors she had never imagined. Her mother's hands glowed faintly, the seed within her still alive. "They say he saved more than our world," Lyra whispered. Her mother smiled. "He saved the hearts of many, little one, including ours." Across space, humans and aliens alike gathered in quiet awe. Ships from distant systems hovered near peaceful worlds. Leaders of once warring factions spoke in unison. "The one who showed mercy must be honored," they said. And statues of light began appearing, shining in every major city. Each sculpted figure showed a human holding a glowing orb, a symbol not of power but of compassion and courage. In the quiet corners of the universe, whispers spread. Children asked their teachers about the human of light. Merchants told travelers about the glowing ship that survived impossible odds. Even the syndicate spoke of him in hushed tones, not with fear but with respect. For they had witnessed a force stronger than weapons, stronger than greed. Lyra and her mother traveled to the edge of the galaxy, where the first light beings hovered silently, their forms glittering like stars. Jack's presence was not there in body but in spirit. The seed had chosen him to show that humanity could carry its power. Lyra knelt before the beings, holding her mother's hand. "Thank you for trusting us," she whispered, her voice trembling. The light around her mother shimmered, pulsing in gentle harmony. A soft voice older than stars spoke in Lyra's mind. "You have learned what humans often forget, that courage comes from love, not fear." Lyra nodded, tears shining in her violet eyes. "Yes, we will protect it," she promised. "And your world will remember him forever," the voice said. A warm wave of energy spread from the beings, washing over every star. Every being who listened felt hope in their hearts for the first time in generations. Back on Thrain, the city streets were alive with laughter, music, and celebration. People of every species worked together, sharing food, stories, and joy. Lyra ran through the glowing gardens, feeling the light pulse gently in her chest. Her mother watched with pride, the faint glow of the seed illuminating her smile. "You see, little one," she said softly, "courage and kindness are stronger than any weapon." And somewhere beyond the stars, the echoes of Jack's spirit lingered, not as a hero of war, but as a human who chose mercy. The galaxy had changed because one man had dared to act with love, and the first light, now resting peacefully in many hearts, watched silently, knowing that the seeds of hope had been planted, and that in the centuries to come, life across the stars would remember the human of light, not just for his bravery, but for the compassion that illuminated an entire galaxy.